The promise keeper. Has anyone ever promised you something and did not keep the promise? Promise to love and honor you? Promise to take care of you? Promise to help you? Has anyone ever promised to always be there for you? Often human beings are quick to make promises they have no intentions of keeping. In some cases, promises are made with the best of intentions, but without counting the cost. So when the times get tough, people are left disappointed. This may be the case with man, but not so with God. The psalmist says in chapter 138 and verse 2, I will worship towards thy holy temple and praise thy name for thy loving kindness and for thy truth, for thou hast magnified thy word above thy name. God does what he says he would do. He is a God of his word. He is faithful and he keeps his promises. Paul reminds us in 2 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 20, for all the promises of God in him are yes, and in him amen, unto the glory of God by us. God's promises are yes and amen, my friend. We can see an example of this in Genesis chapter 21, verses 1 and 2. It says, now the Lord was gracious to Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah what he had promised. Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the very time God had promised him. It is important to know that while God keeps his promises, God does so in his own time. God is not bounded by our human concept of time. Therefore, we often have to trust God and wait for what was promised, and waiting can sometimes be difficult. God promised Sarah and Abraham a child, but they had to wait for that promise to be fulfilled. Even after Abraham decided to take matters into his own hands and go into Hagar, even when Abraham did not trust God completely, even when Sarah thought, how could this be possible at my age and with my condition? That did not prevent God from keeping his promise. We sometimes find ourselves in the same predicament. We do not always trust God. Our faith sometimes wavers when the promises seem to be taking a long time. But even then, when we are not faithful, God is faithful. God is the promise keeping God. Keep the faith. God bless you.